Good afternoon, students. This is Mr. Verzat, and today we're going to look into value drawing, how to blend only using your pencil. So why do I require my Design 1 students to blend without using a blending stump? Well, the reason for that is because before you've learned how to control your values, before you've learned to master your tools, before you've learned how to layer, and before you've learned how much of a dark and a light you need, a blending stump actually turns into a shortcut, and a very sloppy one at that. Blending stumps reduce the contrast in your work. They have very little control in the hands of a beginner, and likewise, it reduces any of the action and the intricate values and the textures and the details in a piece. It's a sloppy way to cover a surface very quickly, and because of that, use of a blending tool will not account for any of the value portions of an assignment that we have in this class. I save it for the advanced students. They've learned how to layer. They've also learned how to blend with their pencil, and the blending tool then becomes an additional skill. Here's an example of a drawing in the center that was done without using a blending stick. You can achieve wonderful values and blends without a blending stick. And as a matter of fact, sometimes it's great to see your strokes in a piece. Now there's also a time for not seeing your strokes, in which case you can still blend without a stump also to hide your strokes, and you'll see soon. So, some facts and characteristics: you don't need a blending stick to blend your values at all. At all. Seriously. Think how great of a blender you'll be after you've learned how to do this without a blending stump. How do you do it? Well, there are two terms we need to know: a hard edge and a soft edge. What's a hard edge? Well, it's not the edge of a ruler that you use to draw a straight line. A hard edge means it's an abrupt change in value. It's where, say, a dark area immediately turns into a light area. Let's take a look at an example right here. Do you see the leaves right here in the bottom of the example piece? Those really black leaves just abruptly stop because the area around it is lighter. That's a hard edge. A soft edge would be this gnome's shirt. See how it's dark in the middle of the back and then gradually blends into a lighter gray? Also, the area around the glowing fairy, that would be a soft edge all around it, all those darker and lighter values around it. So why do you use a hard edge and a soft edge? Well, the rule of thumb is if you want to define something, if you want to show a form clearly, use a hard edge. If you want to have your form look three-dimensional and have depth, use soft edges. So, let's look at some examples on a hard edge and a soft edge, and we'll come back to some of these facts and characteristics. Here's a picture of a student's drawing that's kind of a Grim Reaper-like character. Now, this student used hard edges to show the wrinkles in the hood, and used soft edges to show depth and dimension. Well, the difference is that with wrinkles, if you study clothing fabric, there's a lot of hard edges, and then they gradually fade on the outside part that's not wrinkled. That makes it look 3D, and it also defines the edges. Here's an example of a soft edge, the inside of the hood, how it gets dark and then fades to a light gray to make it look like there's depth in there. And once again, the whole reason we use value is to make something look 3D, to look real. So, how do you blend using only a pencil? Well, you've learned the pressure scale up to this point, and you've learned how to layer up to this point. The rule of thumb is that if you've got two values that you need to blend together using only your pencil, and one of the values, let's say, is black, and one of them is a midtone, and the black required a pressure 3, and the midtone required a pressure 2, simply use the pressure that you would use in between those two. So, that would be a 2.5 to pull it from the dark into the light. Always go dark into the light if you're doing this. Now, remember, we layer light to dark. This would be a finishing touch that you do at the very end of your piece. So, for example, let's say I had this gnome right here, and I just layered in his shirt, and I realized, I think I need to blend some edges together. And I've already done the layering, I've already added the darkest parts last. Well, in order to blend that part of his middle back with that gray, I would simply use the pressure in between that middle black and that gray, and go from the dark to the light. This student, this Grim Reaper looking picture that he drew, let's look at the nose. Skin is soft if it's young. There's gradual soft edges. It's soft with your values. When you get really old, you get wrinkles, and you have a lot of hard edges in there, which define those wrinkles. Well, this student used that same method. He simply had a gradual change in pressure in order to make these soft edges. So there's another way to blend only using the pencil, and you'll learn that in depth when we get into colored pencil usage. To physically blend your lead together in another way, use semicircular stumbling. So a semicircle is where you're drawing a little circle. Stumbling is controlled scribbling. It's the third shading technique that I taught you. And what you want to do is flatten out the side of your lead on one side, and then do teeny tiny little semicircles. And if you do it right, it'll flatten the lead out and act almost as a blending stump. And you can actually blend from the darkest areas into the lighter areas to get a soft edge between the two. You'll know you're doing it wrong if you see tornadoes. This student, what he did is he used semicircular stumbling to have the transition in dark value to light on the nose. And as you can see, it makes a nice sandy, uniform distribution of tone. Let's look at a non-example here. This is a portrait of a student who didn't use much value. Let's look at the jawline. There's some things that were done right here. For starters, there's a lot of hard edges. You would need a hard edge on the jawline to separate the face from the neck, and that student did it well here. However, he didn't blend it into the rest of the neck skin. There's just a big dark line right there. That lacks blending. So if I had my picture taken in black and white, most of my skin would look gray. So there needs to be more value in this piece. Likewise, most of his values end with an abrupt hard edge. Now, once again, hard edges are to define a form, and soft edges are to make them look 3D. Let's look at the edge of the nose. The edge of the nose defines, the values there define the edge of the nose, but they're not pulled into the rest of the skin tones. So it looks really weird. It looks almost like the student was bashed in the face with a 2x4 and flattened his nose out. So that's another reason why you want to have a hard edge to define an area, and then a soft edge to soften it out, just like this. Once again, the hood of the Grim Reaper. In order to show this part of the fold right here, there's a hard edge, a hard dark edge in value, and then that area transitions gradually into a light area. Remember, light to dark, what we studied before. Okay, here's a pencil sketch of a face that has one side of kind of a middle-aged younger person, and then what he would look like as an older person. And as you can see, with smooth surfaces, you're going to have a lot of soft edges. On the other side, with a wrinkled, textured surface, rough surfaces, when you draw them, you're going to have a lot of hard edges. And so you're going to need some hard edges in this and some soft edges. Let's look at the side of the nose, going off of what we looked at in the student non-example. In order to define the edge of the nose, we've got a hard edge. But that hard edge continues off and turns into a soft edge. All right? To define this part of this dimple between your nostril and your cheek, we need a hard edge. But at the same time, it needs to blend off. Let's look at the old man side. There's a lot of wrinkles in here. So let's kind of take a look at this area right here. Oh, it's kind of creepy. All right, to show that there's a wrinkle, going back to your implied line definitions of what an implied line is, we need hard edges. And then the rest of that plane fades off into a soft edge. To show these wrinkles in the lips, we need some hard edges. But then they blend off on the sides. To show let's take a look at the mouth line. That's a really fun time because old people's lips get really, really wrinkly, so you can get all crazy with your line work. But we make a hard edge in value. Now remember, there aren't any contour lines in a value drawing, except if you're adding these little last-minute textures here. But we start with a hard edge to separate the lips, and then we blend them off into the lips to make a soft edge because lips are rounded. Alright, let's take a look at the younger side. We've got a hard edge separating the lips, and we're blending them off because the lips are rounded. the under part of the lip, we have a hard edge showing that under part of the lip. And then we blend it off softly to make it with a soft edge as it fades into the rest of the skin. All right? The neckline, to define the jaw, we use a hard edge to define the jaw. And then the rest of the surface of the neck blends off with a soft edge because the neck is round and it's smooth. Let's look at the bunny drawing. We're going to need some hard edges and some soft edges. Right here we've got a hard edge to separate the dark eye from the rest of the light color of the skin. And where that dark eye is at, well, because the nature of the eye, it stays a hard edge. But let's take a look at the parts of the bunny's cheeks. You know, where there's shadow to separate, to pull out the cheeks, we need a hard edge. And then it fades into a soft edge from there. So the soft edge is usually on the opposite side of the hard edge. All right, here's the area where the bunny's feet are completely covered in shadow. So we've got a hard edge showing them off from the rest of the surroundings, okay? And then it blends into the rest of the rabbit. So your hard edge is on one side, and your soft edge is on another. So that concludes this screencast, and I hope you found it useful. And again, there's a lot of information in there, but if you're mindful of that, your value drawings are going to be great. So I look forward to seeing you in class, and as always, if you missed anything, feel free to rewind the video and pick it up again. The instruction's there. It's one of the great things about digital teaching, and I will work with you in class, and I hope you have a great day.